What is going on, everybody? It is 1:16 p.m. here in Florida, and I'm going to be hanging out with you guys for probably 30 minutes, 35 minutes, 40 minutes, 45 minutes. You know how these things go. If I say I'll be on for 15 minutes, I'll be on for 30. If I say I'm on for 30 minutes, I'll be on for 45. That's how it goes. But welcome, guys. The topic of conversation is what's your favorite Star Wars video game? Favorite Star Wars video game? Throw them at me. There's a huge chunk of Star Wars games that I have never played before. There was a certain time where, you know, my entire video game existence was dominated by like Counter-Strike and Ultima Online, and a few other games sprinkled here and there. A lot of Star Wars games came out that, you know, I might have dabbled in, like KOTOR 1 and 2. When those came out, you know, I owned both of them, but I don't remember putting very many hours into it. Back when they came out, I wasn't really that deep into RPGs and stuff like that. Then things like Republic Commando, I had never played until a couple of years ago on a stream. So, long story short, there is a lot of Star Wars games that I've been wanting to play on a stream. Or at least play and make a video about, because, you know, I've missed out on quite a bit. But yeah, guys, so my favorite Star Wars game of all time, most of you have probably heard me talk about this. It's called Star Wars Galaxies. It was an MMO that came out in the early 2003 to be exact. Just fond memories about it. I'm sure it'll come up during this stream. We'll chit-chat about it. But yeah, so what is your favorite Star Wars game of all time, if you can pick one? But Benjamin B, Matt Thornton, and Mr. Cap Coldblood, good to see you guys. Hope you're doing well. I greatly appreciate that that channel support this afternoon.
For challenging my views of Star Wars. The Force Unleashed for Best Space Wizard Simulator. Rogue Squadron 2 and 3 for making me love flight sims. Lego Star Wars 1 for introducing me to Star Wars.
Lego Star Wars introduced you to Star Wars. That's pretty cool, Cap. Cap, I greatly appreciate that, man. Give me one sec. But Benjamin B says, my all-time favorite Star Wars game is KOTOR 2. Ben, I actually, a couple weeks ago, I installed it. I probably put a couple hours into it when it first came out. I vividly remember owning it, but like I said, when did that come out? It was like 2005? KOTOR, or 2002. Or, 2004. Oh, 2004. Okay, so 2004. 2004, I had just graduated from high school a few months earlier when it came out in 2004. And wasn't playing very many games at that time. Well, I was, but I was basically just playing Counter-Strike and hosting my own servers and making my own maps. That was basically my existence around that time when it came to games. And yeah, it took me a while to kind of get into RPGs like that, you know. I was really into a lot of MMOs like Ultima Online or EverQuest and Asheron's Call and Dark Age of Camelot, to name a couple. I played a ton of MMOs back then, even Star Wars Galaxies, but for whatever reason, single-player RPGs were really hard for me to get into, even if it had Star Wars slapped on there, you know. But I recently installed it on Steam, Ben, and I have had so many people recommend it to me. Even if I've never beaten the first game, people tell me just it doesn't matter. This is a better game, and to play it anyway. So that will probably be the next Star Wars game that I stream on here. I don't want to promise anything, but, maybe. We'll see. But I appreciate that, man. And Cap Coldblood, thank you so much for the channel support as well. KOTOR 2 for challenging my views of Star Wars. That kind of piggyback on what I just said there. That actually really intrigues me. I don't know what you mean by that. But just that statement alone makes me really curious and want to check out the game. Cap also says The Force Unleashed for a Best Space Wizard Simulator. That's a good way to put it as well. I didn't play The Force Unleashed until, when did I play that, guys? On a stream. That was maybe a year and a half ago. Maybe a little longer than that. Maybe it was before my daughter was even born, but anyway, I that was the first time I ever played it, and I played it on a series of like 5 different streams until I beat the game, and it was fun. It was a good, as you put it, space wizard simulator. It was just balls to the wall force power, and you were basically, it was basically hacking and slashing in Star Wars, right? But yeah, it was fun. And Rogue Squadron 2 and 3 for making me love flight sims. I honestly don't know if I've ever played Rogue Squadron 2 or 3. I know for a fact, I played the first one heavily on the N64. So Rogue Squadron 2 Rogue Leader came out on the GameCube. I never owned a GameCube. I'm not sure if it came out on anything else. Rogue Squadron 3 came out on the GameCube as well. So, and they came out in 2003 and 2001. So yeah, I never owned a GameCube. I actually didn't know the GameCube was that old. I didn't know it was that old. Wow. Okay. So yeah, I never owned a GameCube. In 2001, I wasn't really playing console games either. Probably I would say around 99 is when I really started becoming like a heavy PC gamer. Maybe earlier than that. So I didn't really have a console until my Xbox 360. Or no, did I own a 360? I owned a 360 for like a couple months in 2008. And that's it. And then a PS3. Anyway, Cap. And you said Lego Star Wars 1 for introducing me to Star Wars. You'd be surprised, or maybe you wouldn't. I have had so many people on these streams tell me that the first time they ever got introduced to Star Wars, or played or saw anything Star Wars related, was the first Lego Star Wars game, which is kind of neat. There's so many different entry points to this franchise, right? And I never would have thought that a Lego game would be such a popular introduction, an entry point to the franchise, but it's very popular. So anyway, Cap, I hope you're doing well, man. Thank you so much for the channel support this afternoon. And it is time. It's got to be time for me to fire up some KOTOR 2, right? Play through it. I'm on board. Let's do it. And Matt Thornton, got to go with Jedi Outcast as my favorite Kyle Katarn. That's another one that I don't think. Let me see. Jedi Outcast. Star Wars Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast. Is this the one that I've played? Sorry guys, I'm looking at the IMDb. So no, I have never played. Okay, so I've only played the first Dark Forces, Matt. That's the only Kyle Katarn game I've ever played. I don't know. I've never played Dark Forces 2. Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2 is one playable game. I've never played Jedi Knight Mysteries of the Sith. I've never played Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast, and as a major NPC in Jedi Knight Jedi Academy. I've never played any of those games other than Dark Forces. I don't know why. Again, man, it's kind of funny. Counter-Strike and Ultima Online were just basically a giant paperweight on top of me when it came to playing other video games. That's all I did in the space of video game stuff, which is kind of crazy. So yeah, I played the hell out of Dark Forces back when it first came out in '95. And I was 9 years old when that game came out, and we had our first PC when I was probably a little younger than that. And yeah, man, I loved it through and through. But I did try to fire up one of those games. It might have been Jedi Outcast, or maybe it was Jedi Academy. I tried to play one on a stream a few years back, and it would just lock up after a couple minutes of me running around. It was weird. Just one of those cases of an older game not really being playing smoothly on a modern system, which it's weird because the original 1995 Dark Forces runs smooth as hell. But anyway, I appreciate that, Matt. And Carter Lovejoy, thank you so much as well for the channel support. Carter says, here's an idea. Let me take a quick sip of the old water. Carter says, here's an idea. Elon Musk buys EA and deletes it, then gives the Star Wars game rights back to Lucasfilm to have them reopen LucasArts. Yeah, something needs to happen. I don't know. I like the idea of EA having the license. They've made, Jedi Fallen Order, fantastic single player game, up there with my favorite single player Star Wars games, if not at the tip top. Battlefront 2 is good. That being said, I don't want to strip them of it, because they're a major powerhouse and they have a lot of resources to make just ridiculously detailed and just epic games. That being said, I would love the license to kind of get diversified among various other developers or publishers. I don't know the legality of it, so I'm a dummy in that department. But just as a broad concept, it would be awesome if you had, some other maybe smaller independent studios even get involved with making like an RTS, like a real-time strategy game, right, for the PC. I mean, you probably don't need a giant EA-sized structure and overhead to make an RTS like that, especially with innovative and driven independent developers. Again, I don't know the legality of it. I'm sure it's not possible in the current state, but no, I love the idea of diversifying the Star Wars video game license to get various studios involved, to get various different types of Star Wars games that are so out of the box. In a perfect world, that's kind of how it would work, but the world is run on business and money and contracts and licenses. But that's the way it goes. Anyway, Carter, I appreciate that, man. And Caleb Kemp, hello there, right back to you, Mr. Kenobi. Hope you're doing well, man. Cheers. What was I gonna say? We actually went to the beach, Caleb. Went to the beach over the weekend. Me, my wife, my daughter. It was fun as hell. It's really interesting because there's so much space. It's weird, man. Like when you watch a lot of the news, they make it seem like people are on top of each other. We never got, like, I would say 30 yards from anybody, and everybody was so evenly spaced. But if somebody has like a camera at eye level and they zoom in, it makes it look like everybody's just on top of each other. It's really interesting. And anyway, it was a lot of fun. My daughter loved it, man. We basically just she sat right in the sand where the water came up, and I didn't know how she would take to it. She hasn't been to the beach in a year since, and she's a year older, obviously. But dude, she took to it so fast. She was grabbing sand, sitting in the water, letting the waves hit her. It was a blast, man. I think we're going to do it again next weekend, but we shall see. She loved it. Anyway, I appreciate that, Caleb. And Omar greatly appreciate that as well. Lego Star Wars and the Force Unleashed 1 and 2. I loved kicking ass with the Force, and it had a decent storyline as well. Wish they made the Force Unleashed 3 and 13. Lego Star Wars and the Force Unleashed 1 and 2. Interesting. So, yeah, for me, I still haven't played the Force Unleashed 2. Really, it's kind of funny, man. A lot of people tell me not to play it because it's not as good as the first one. Obviously, you got to play it yourself to see if that's true, but I've heard it from so many people, man. And I'm sure it's very similar to the first one, right? As I said, I played it on a stream, so yeah, sure, I was paying a little bit of attention to the story. I really thought the beginning was neat. This kid is found by Vader and becomes an apprentice, and I liked how that had came to a head. In the Force Unleashed 2, can't you pick between, like, joining the Emperor? You basically write your own, his Star Wars history, right? You can kill the Emperor, can't you? I think that's the case. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of something else, but yeah, man. I've recently played Lego Star Wars. I haven't played it in like a month, I feel like. On a stream, I maybe have 2 hours left until I beat the main story. Those games they're fun. I've really only thoroughly enjoyed them when I'm playing like couch multiplayer. They're fun, but they're kind of hard for me to get into if it's just me, And on a stream, whenever there's like puzzles involved and I'm streaming, my head is not in the game, and it's kind of difficult for me to focus on the game because I'm trying to pay attention to the chat, and then I miss the easiest puzzles and shit like that. If anybody has ever tuned into my Lego Star Wars streams, they are some of the most like embarrassing video game examples in the history of live streams. But anyway, Omar, I appreciate that. I doubt we'll ever get Force Unleashed 3. Could be wrong. You never know. And 1313, I think, is probably dead. But maybe there'll be some kind of underground, like, bounty hunter 1313 type game in the future. It sounds like something that I would absolutely love, because you guys know me, when I think of Star Wars, I don't necessarily think of Jedi and Sith. I do think of that underworld, you know. But anyway, Omar, I greatly appreciate that, man. And kicking ass with the Force and just going balls to the wall as a Star Killer is pretty it's pretty fun. And Thomas, hey, oh crap, I just why does that happen? I just pulled my my headset, got wrapped around, and there we go. My headset got wrapped around the my chair, and I twisted and it yanked out of my computer. There we go. Thomas, thank you so much for the channel support. Thomas Hagener. I'm going to say Hagener. Thomas, I greatly appreciate that. Thomas says, Star Wars Republic Commando. It's Star Wars, but also Halo. So, that's something that I've been wanting to play for a while. I did try it maybe 2.5 years ago for the first time, and I kind of played it on a live stream. It was embarrassing. It sucked so bad. I should have fired it up beforehand and just given myself an hour to mess around with it and figure out what the game was all about and play it a little bit. Instead, I just jumped right into it. I didn't realize you could control your dudes. I didn't realize that you could give orders. I didn't realize it. I was just basically running around like an idiot, getting killed left and right. I don't know if anybody remembers that stream. It sucked. So yeah, man, I'm sure that's I've heard from a lot of people that's their favorite Star Wars game too. So never played it when it first came out. Probably didn't show much interest in it, even if I wanted to get it. I even if I was looking for a new Star Wars game to play, I don't know if I would have gotten that at that time. I was in a different space where I had zero desire to play anything like prequels, and this was Republic Commando is pre-Clone Wars, right? Let's see, Republic Commando 2005. So yeah, 3 years before Clone Wars came out. So yeah, I just was in a different kind of headspace where didn't really care, did not care for the prequels. Anything that came out with prequel era didn't interest me whatsoever. It was pre-Clone Wars, so I didn't show much interest in the game. Despite that, I still want to play it nowadays because it does look, it looks fun. But 15 years ago, that's hard to believe. Does that blow some of your guys' minds that you played that game 15 years ago? I know I have games like that. It just kind of completely blows my mind. Anyway, I appreciate that, Thomas. KOTOR, the best replay value in any Star Wars game as well. John. Yeah, I've only played like 8 hours of KOTOR. I was streaming it for a certain period of time. I don't know why I stopped. I have a bad habit of doing that, man. I'll play a game for a few hours, especially like streaming a game, and then just kind of leave it behind and never touch it again. I do that all the time. I just get burned out for whatever reason on certain games. But man. Ian Number, thank you so much for the channel support. Mr. Number, I greatly appreciate that. You said TIE Fighter was my all-time favorite game. It's kind of funny that you mentioned that, man. Let me bring up my Steam account. On May the 4th, there was a ton of, let's see, okay. There was a ton of, like games for sale on Steam, right? So, I ended up buying the original X-Wing and the original TIE Fighter, just for the hell of it. I think they were like $1.99 each or something like that. And I realized that I did not own them on Steam. Played both of them back in the day when they first came out in the 90s. That was probably right around the time we first got our PC, our first PC. Let me see. When did the Pentium 133 come out? Pentium 133. I don't know if this... So 1995. So, okay, 1995 is probably around the first time we got our computer. I would have been 9 years old. I feel like we got it a little earlier than that, but that's a good rough estimate. So yeah, I remember playing the first TIE Fighter, the first X-Wing, all that stuff, and I haven't played those games since 25 years ago. So it's been a long time. And I'm looking forward to jumping back into it. I'm curious if they'll run good on my system, or if it'll just be like certain games, man, like Shadows of the Empire runs great on my computer. Runs perfect. I can stream it without a hiccup. What's another example? Even like Star Wars Galaxies came out in 2003, runs great on my computer. Stream it, no problem whatsoever. But certain games, man, like Rogue Squadron, I can play it, but I can't stream it. My computer none of my streaming software, I've downloaded other various streaming softwares, it does not recognize that the game is even launched. If I try to stream just my desktop, whatever I'm looking at on my screen, it's black. It doesn't even recognize that I'm playing a game. It's weird, man. Same thing with the episode 1 Racer. I was going to stream that, but just glitches out. So hopefully TIE Fighter and X-Wing will be all right. But yeah, I appreciate that, man. And hello, Orko. Good to see you. I greatly appreciate that. Orko says, Star Wars KOTOR by far. It's so much more than a Star Wars game. Also, what up, Greedo? Been a while. Yeah, man. Hope you're doing well in all of this shit. I'm curious how things are like where you're at. The world has opened up here in my pocket of Florida. But, yeah, I wish there's something about KOTOR or a lot of these RPG games that, especially back in the day, despite me dabbling in them from time to time, I just had a hard time getting into them. I call it like video game ADD or something like that, because you know, when games like that would come out, yeah, I'd be curious. I would buy like the first Morrowind. Yeah, I played Morrowind a little bit. Or KOTOR. Yeah, I played it a little bit. But then I would get like a call from my buddy. Hey, do you want to play some Day of Defeat? Yes, I would rather play that. So it's kind of funny, like, and I still have a little bit of that in me too. It takes a while for me to get into certain RPGs or certain single player open world games or whatnot. You know, I'm sure there's a lot of other people like me, but if I sit on the couch and I'm trying to, I've gotten a lot better nowadays than I used to be when I was, I don't know, 17, 18 years old. But I always had a hard time just sitting still and like reading text from an RPG or I just did not have patience. but yeah, anyway, hope you're doing well, Orko. Things are going good here. Yeah, not much has changed for us. You know, as I've said before, I don't know if you heard, like, I'm still working on channel stuff. I still take care of my daughter during the day. I've only had one freelance project in like the past 2 months since all of this shit popped off, which is a little terrifying. But my wife is in the medical field, so like our day-to-day schedule really hasn't changed that much, and so yeah, we're hanging in there. But I appreciate that, Orko. And oh, where'd that go? Your profile pic is just too good. Han Solo. Mine? My picture of me holding my suit open? Looking up like a dictator? I like it too. Carter Lovejoy. The Rise of Skywalker should have been DJ Khaled. Do a Yub Nub remix. Has anybody... Oh, there's got to be a Yub Nub remix, right? With Justin Bieber, Cardi B, and BTS. BTS. Where have I heard of that before? Is that like the Korean pop group? What does that stand for? I'm gonna try to figure this out without looking it up. BTS. Let's figure this out. BTS. I'll look it up. I have no idea. All right, BTS. Bangtan Boys. Oh, okay. So it's not like an initialism or something that I thought. Oh, interesting. Okay. Don't know anything about them. I think I've heard one song. It came on like a while ago when I used to ask Alexa to play like popular music, and my daughter would kind of dance when she first learned how to walk. I haven't done that in a while, and they would occasionally come on. I couldn't name, dude. I couldn't name you, give you a Cardi B song. I could probably give you a Justin Bieber song, "Baby." That's a song, right? And DJ Khaled. All I know about him is that he was on Hot Ones and he couldn't finish the first wing. That's basically all I know about him. And he says his name a lot, right? I am 34 next weekend. I don't pay attention to much. You guys will know how it feels when you're when you're getting up there too. It's nice. It's kind of nice being out of the loop from time to time. All the time. Let's face it. But Yub Nub remix. I'm looking it up right now. There's got to be a Yub Nub remix. Yub Nub remix. Oh, of course. There's a lot of Yub Nub remixes as well. Okay. All right. I appreciate that, man. Behind the scenes. Is that what it stands? Nah. Yeah. Maybe it does. Maybe I read something wrong. Anyway. I appreciate that, Carter. And Dimmy Fiend of Time. Dimmy Fiend, I greatly appreciate that. Personally, I love... where did it go? There we go. Okay. Personally, I love KOTOR 1 and 2 more than the movies. Interesting. Those two games as a gamer in the early 2000s were my Star Wars along with the Clone Wars growing up. Yeah, I love that. You're not the only person I've heard. I think I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I feel like I've heard Dash Star, the YouTuber Dash Star, talk about how his favorite Star Wars stuff was the video games. Those stories were like his favorite Star Wars stories, which is interesting because obviously everybody's Star Wars is different, which makes it fun. That's what makes it fun. There's a lot of entry points to this franchise, right? It's just really interesting that for the most part, I haven't really played a lot of Star Wars games, especially ones that came out in the early and mid 2000s. And to hear from various people that their favorite stories in Star Wars come from video games is just really interesting because that's not really something I think of, oddly enough, when I think of Star Wars stories. But yeah, that's cool, Demi. You are certainly not alone with the Clone Wars being your Star Wars. It's been really neat to see, and I've said this before, but it's been really neat to see, like, in 2011 when I started this channel, nobody was talking about the Clone Wars on this channel. Like if they were, it was negative. Completely negative. Bashing it, whatever. And I never gave it a chance. I never watched it. It was just like not even in my brain, not even on my radar. And then as the channel progressed and as the years went by, at a certain point, maybe in like 2015, 2016, people started talking about the Clone Wars and positively about the Clone Wars and the prequels, and all of a sudden this big wave, and I attribute it to people who were kids watching these shows, growing up and having a voice on the internet, and this wave of like positivity, or maybe positivity is the wrong word, but this wave of like positive feelings about the Clone Wars, where that was a little void in the past, came about, and it was really neat to see. So you are certainly not alone, Mr. Time. But yeah, I greatly appreciate that. And soon I'll fire up KOTOR 2 because I've had that recommended to me so many times, and so many people have told me just to skip the first one, even though I've played a little bit of it. Definitely haven't beaten it. But yeah, anyway, I appreciate that, man. And Cap Coldblood, once again, be sure to check your Twitter DMs about KOTOR 2. Will do. I'll go ahead and bring up my Twitter on my monitor. Okay. To anybody who has ever DM'd me, I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, without even scrolling down, I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 unread DMs. I'll absolutely check this out, Cap, because I'm assuming, I haven't read it yet, but I'm assuming it's maybe about mods and stuff like that. We'll see. Background info on the state of the galaxy. We have to give you a synopsis document. Both stories are incredible. Yeah, I'll I bet I could probably find some videos that kind of break down maybe take all of the cinematics, you know, and show them. Kind of break down what happened in the first game, State of the Galaxy, as you put it. So, yeah, if I have any questions, I'll definitely fire them to you. But, yeah, maybe at some point this week. Let me see. I'm pretty sure I still have it installed. Maybe some point this week, I will. Do I have it installed still? Yes, I do. Okay, cool. Playtime 2 minutes. So yeah, maybe sometime this week, later this week, I'll fire it up. Maybe on Wednesday I'll do an afternoon stream with KOTOR 2. My daughter is going over to my parents' house on Wednesday. They're doing a little bit of babysitting, so I can knock some stuff out around the house and work on some videos. But maybe later in the afternoon I'll do a little KOTOR stream. Let's make that work. But I appreciate that, Cap. And Benjamin B., if you are curious about how LucasArts did business, the book Blood, Sweat, and Pixels. Oh, interesting. Has a fantastic chapter about Star Wars 1313. Never heard of that. Let me see. Blood, Sweat, and Pixels. Okay. Blood, Sweat, and Pixels. Amazon. Developing video game hero's journey or fool's errand. Wait, what? The creative and technical logistics that go into building today's hottest games can be more harrowing and complex than the games themselves, often seeming like an endless maze or bottomless abyss. This sounds like I love the artwork on the cover, by the way, but that's not important. Yeah, this sounds like something that would be right up my alley. I'm currently reading Alphabet Squadron, and after I read a Star Wars book, I always read something else, because I cannot bring myself to read 2 Star Wars books in a row. Gotta diversify a little bit, right? So maybe this will be the next thing that I read. Becoming a Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, even if it nearly ripped their studios apart. So this is kind of like insider, maybe anonymous people telling their stories. Or maybe this is a developer. Okay, I'll check this out, absolutely. I'll absolutely check this out. Jason Schreier, is that how you say it? Oh, I know this. Yeah, this guy is I see him pop up on Twitter all the time. I follow him on Twitter. I didn't realize that he wrote this. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, this sounds really interesting. I appreciate you bringing that to my attention, Ben. Yeah, so I will add this to my Amazon. I'll have to figure out. I'll go get my Kindle and do it that way. Add it to my list of things. But I appreciate that. I like that guy on Twitter. He knows his shit for sure. Very investigative, right? But I appreciate that, man. And Daniel Ambrose, tangentially related, but LucasArts made a point-and-click Last Crusade game in 1989 that I played obsessively as a kid, plus the Monkey Island games. A Last Crusade? Last Crusade point-and-click, 1989. Definitely didn't know that this existed. It's on Steam? Alright, I gotta look this up now. Store. Last Crusade. And yeah, $6. Alright, let's see. 1989. This, I love this. Yeah, I appreciate you bringing this to my attention. I did not know that this existed. I love this, man. I don't know if it's the same studio or anything, but wait, who made House, or not House on Haunted Hill? Who made Maniac Mansion? LucasArts. Okay. Was it the same like developers? Maniac Mansion, Monkey Island. Was it the same? It was. Okay. That's crazy, Daniel. That's awesome. So, yeah, I'm familiar. I used to play Maniac Mansion back in the day on the original Nintendo all the time when I was a kid. I don't think I knew what the hell I was doing, but I remember playing it. I used to rent it all the time. I don't think I ever actually owned it. It was one of those games that and if you're as old as me, you probably had those games too, where if you saw it at Blockbuster or Hollywood Video or wherever you rented your games, you would see it and you would just rent it again. And I had a lot of those games. You know, I never owned some of them, but I constantly played them. Maniac Mansion was one of those. So I'm adding this to my wish list right now. That's awesome. And LucasArts Adventure Pack. Okay. I appreciate you bringing that to my attention, man. That being said, like, I know those guys from Maniac Mansion made a game called Thimbleweed Park. So maybe you probably already know about it since you know about this, but Thimbleweed Park came out. I don't know, when did it come out? Let me click this and see. 2017, and it's $20. I've been meaning to pick it up for a while just because it looks like something that I would be into. I think I would get it on the console on my Xbox because it seems like a nice kind of relaxing, sit back and enjoy, little adventure game. But I appreciate you bringing that to my attention, Daniel. It is now on my wish list, and maybe I'll pick it up soon. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. 1995 was 50 years ago. I'm from the future. Well, there you go, JM. Anyone remember the Rebel Assault games? Virgil, absolutely, man. The Rebel Assault games were, I thought, dude, especially the first one. Oh, no. Which one am I thinking of? I think the second one is the one that I play the most of. But yeah, dude, Rebel Assault. Let me see, Rebel Assault 2. I think the second one is the one that I played the most of. Yeah, Rebel Assault 2. Here we go. Yep. Yeah, I definitely played the first one more than the second one more than the first one. Those were hard games. I actually recently tried to fire it up and play it. It's still difficult. Still difficult games. But I thought, Virgil, I thought Rebel Assault would be the future of video games. That's what I thought. I thought, like, if you guys have never played Rebel Assault, they're fun. They're difficult, but they're very arcadey. They feel like they should have been an arcade game, and maybe they even were. I'm not too sure, but I thought that was the future of video games, Virgil. Like real videoed assets. Like when you control your character, he's an actual video. It's an actual video of a dude. You know what I mean? And when you shot stormtroopers, it was an actual video of people dressed up as stormtroopers. Like, I thought the future of video games was going to be in manipulating actual video footage. You know what I mean? That's just where my brain was as a kid, and just because it was real, you know, it's real. It's real footage. What could be more real than real? So, obviously, you can't really do that, because video games are so dynamic and things change, and that's how it should be, unless you're on like a rail shooter like Rebel Assault 2. But yeah, man, used to play those games constantly. Fun stuff. Yeah. And Orko, once again, thank you so much for the channel support. Currently playing Witcher 3, and it makes me sad about what 1313 could have been. Guess we have to make do with Elite Dangerous for our space smuggling fantasies. Ever played the Witcher series? No, I have never played a Witcher game, Orko. In fact, like, I don't know anything about that series. I have a buddy who's played them all. That's kind of just that's the type of game he loves. And I've always been curious to get into a Witcher game, but I know myself, man. And whenever I try to start playing a single player game like that, I don't know why, I play it for an hour and then never touch it again. And I feel like a Witcher game, that would be the case for me again. Maybe that's me being cynical, but I just know myself, and I know my history and my I guess my I don't know. I just know how I play games. Yeah. And it's weird to me, Orko, because Red Dead Redemption 2 is the only like single player game in so long that has been able to hold my attention. I've been playing that game since it came out. And I think it's just the freedom of it all, and it's so well done. But yeah, I've played that game since it came out. There was like 6 or 7 months where I never touched it when we moved in with our folks while our house was being built. But yeah, basically a couple times a week, I'll fire it up for an hour or two. And it's weird, man. It's the only game that's really stood the test of time for me. I'm only like 49% done with the game too, which is hilarious. But yeah, I want something like 1313, maybe not exactly like it, but Orko, you bring up Elite Dangerous. Elite Dangerous is, I feel like that is kind of the, and games like that, right? Elite Dangerous, your No Man's Sky. I'm sure there's other games like that. Even Star Citizen. I don't really know what Star Citizen's going to be like when it's all said and done, but I feel like Elite Dangerous is one of those games that people will look back on, or No Man's Sky, and just be like, this was the beginning of something huge. Because, and as wonky as it often is, or as limited as you are in those games, despite it giving you the illusion of variation and choice, they're still simulating like an entire galaxy. And that is mind-blowing, you know. And I would love a game like Elite Dangerous, but in the Star Wars universe. Something like that. I mean, it's an idea that just feels like a no-brainer. Why isn't that made, right, Orko? Like, everybody wants to explore the Star Wars galaxy. What about a game like Elite Dangerous, where you can hop to... I mean, just give us like 20 planets. That'd be fine, right? I mean, don't need an entire galaxy. Maybe that would be a little too much... whatever, unless things got ridiculous in the future with computing power. But a game where you do fly around freely and you explore a galaxy and you can land seamlessly on a planet and explore. Just it makes sense, you know. It just makes sense. I would be a smuggler, hell yeah. But anyway, Orko, I appreciate that. And 420th Char Clone, thank you so much for the channel support as well. OG Battlefront 2 for nostalgia and being genuinely fun. Yeah, that's another one, man. It's so the OG Battlefront 2 came out in 2005, right? Got to look that up. 2000. Where'd it go? 2005. Yeah. So it came out in 2005. I owned it. I played it a little bit. It's a game that me and my friends dabbled in.
1 is a
one
classic
sec.
SW adventure with a cool twist at the end. KOTOR 2 is more about the nature of the Force and the Grain. 2 refers to the end of 1, but watching cutscenes will be fine for that info.
Okay. Ben, I appreciate that, man. Give me one sec. So yeah, 420th. The original Battlefront 2 came out in 2005. I remember buying it. I remember owning it. I remember playing it with my friends a little bit, but we didn't really play it that much. And I found that I didn't really play it as much as a lot of other people. It's really weird to me, man, when I look back at my video gaming history, how from like 2001 to like, I don't know, 2007, 2008, maybe even longer than that. I mean, maybe from like 99 to 2008, something like, maybe almost 10 years was just dominated by Counter-Strike, the various versions of Counter-Strike, and I would make maps for all of them and host my own servers. And then Day of Defeat, I dabbled in quite a bit too, and then Ultima Online. Those 3 games, or those pretty much 2, Counter-Strike and Ultima Online, dominated like a decade of my gaming. It's so weird to look back and think of how those 2 games were like everything in terms of me playing games. The other game that kind of dropped in there as well, in that maybe decade-long span, was Company of Heroes. It's still my favorite RTS of all time. Came out in 2007, I think, of Heroes. So when that game came out, 2006. When that game came out, I played it with my buddies until I went to boot camp. That's what I did. Like for 6 months before I went to boot camp, I just played video games. A picture actually recently popped up on one of those like time hop apps of me laying in a kiddie pool in my parents' backyard with a 6-pack of beer, sitting in the pool with me, and that's what I would do for like a couple months before I went to boot camp. Play games and do that, and then I went to boot camp. And Company of Heroes dominated my RTS. If we were online together, we were playing Company of Heroes, man, and it was so much fun. The second one was all right. But that first one, man, that first is just like, perfect RTS to me, you know. But anyway, I appreciate that, Charclone. It's a long way of me saying I didn't play it as much as a lot of other people. But I got nostalgic games like that out the ass as well, man. And it's hard to kind of separate the nostalgia from the fun, but often, like you said, like BF2 goes hand in hand for you, right? But yeah, anyway. And Caleb Kemp as well, thank you so much. What are your settings for game capture that those games show up black? I had that issue with OG Battlefront, a few tweaks fixed it. It's I don't even know. I would have to look, but I don't even know. It's not, how do I put it? It's not that, well, I would have to look now that you bring up the settings. I don't know if I've really ever messed with the settings of like OBS. The thing, a lot of the times those games don't even register as like a window. Do you know what I mean? When you select a window to capture, you know what I mean? A lot of them don't even pop up as an option to select. I can do a window capture. I can do a game capture, just whatever. It doesn't register. It doesn't even show it exists. And if I try to capture my entire monitor, it just goes black. That's probably what I would have to do, capture the monitor and then maybe mess with some settings. I really don't know. The biggest problem with a game like Rogue Squadron is that I can't minimize. And if I do try, which is fine, because I could capture my monitor and then fire up the game if the game would work. Does that make sense? It's hard to explain. It's hard to explain, but yeah, maybe next time I would love to do like a pod racing live stream. I would love that, but maybe I'll mess with some settings on Wednesday when my daughter goes over to my parents' house and see if I can get it working. Crossing fingers, right? But I appreciate that, man. And if you have any suggestions, feel free to tweet them to me. See what you did. Maybe I can kind of follow your lead. And Dylan Compton, thank you so much as well, man. All right, my order, I don't know if my order is correct here. I got Dylan, Red Mouse, Orko, Lox, Beast, Ben, and Vince. I appreciate it, guys. Dylan says, been playing Galactic Conquest on OG Battlefront 2 with my buddy every weekend. Beers, laughs, and screaming when it gets down to the wire. Best 2 out of 3 is this SAT. Yeah, it's so... Well, that obviously, that's some of the best things. That's why we play games, right, Dylan? That's why we play games. Like, as I told my buddy, it's not really about what we're playing. Sure, sometimes it is, but it's about having fun, shooting the shit on microphone, laughing, screaming, acting up, and talking shit, right? On fun. It's a blast. I barely remember playing OG Battlefront 2, like I said earlier. I wish I would have played more, because if I was making maps in Counter-Strike for 5 years on it, like solidly making my own maps and hosting my own server. I don't know how you did it back in Battlefront 2, the original one, but I know it was possible. And if I knew that, then I probably would have been focused on that game too, making my own maps in Battlefront 2, the original Battlefront 2. But yeah, man, that's what it's all about. I mean, so I've been playing games since I was like 14 with the same group of guys, and 14 or 15 with the same group of guys. And it's just kind of crazy to think about, 20 years of playing games with the same group of guys, and we're still the same idiots on microphone with the same inappropriate usernames, constantly just acting up and laughing. And it's a great way to keep in touch, right? But anyway, I appreciate that, Dylan. And Red Mouse, thank you so much as well. Fallen Order Jedi Academy for nostalgia points. I'm with you, Red Mouse. I have to separate games like Shadows of the Empire and Fallen Order into two different camps. Like Shadows of the Empire, if I'm looking through those thick-rimmed nostalgia goggles, might be my all-time favorite Star Wars game. Single-player Star Wars game. I have to differentiate that too. Single-player Star Wars game. But if I take away those nostalgia goggles, I think Fallen Order is my favorite single-player Star Wars game. I love the combat. So much so that I actually played a little bit of Batman Arkham Origins through my Steam Link yesterday. My wife was rocking my daughter to sleep last night, and I was like, you know what? Whatever, I'm going to play something on my Steam Link. I played a little Batman Arkham Origins, and I was like, these controls suck compared to Jedi Fallen Order. Yeah, I love it. It's a fun game, and I've only played through it once, but I need to fire it up again. And I've never played. I don't know if I've played Jedi Academy or not, honestly, Red Mouse. It might have been one of the games. I don't know if it was that or Jedi Knight, Jedi something. Jedi Outcast? I can't remember which one it was. But I maybe played it for 15 minutes and then it crashed on my PC when I was trying to stream it. But eventually I'm sure I'll get around to playing them. Oh yeah, man. I appreciate that. And Orko, once again, Orko says, don't skip KOTOR. Got some really great world building. Also, if you do play KOTOR 2, would absolutely recommend you install the cut content mod. I don't know. Let me see. I don't know if that's what somebody... Somebody told me about a mod. I thought I saved it. Community Hub Guide Workshop. Let me see. It might actually be... It might... Let's see. Most popular... How... What? That's hilarious, man. The most popular... Some of the most popular things on KOTOR 2 Workshop right now is underwear for characters. Man, the internet's weird. Okay. So, okay. Yep. Restored content mod. Is this what you're talking about? The cut content mod. Maybe this is the same thing. Yep. This is cut content mod. Yeah, Orko, you are probably the third or fourth person to bring this up to me. And have I installed it yet? Subscribe. Some games will require you to relaunch them before item is downloaded. Okay, so that is same thing. Okay, cool, 0. So yeah, I will. I'll go ahead and get that installed before I play it. So a lot of people have told me to do that as well. But anyway, I appreciate that, man. And yeah, I kind of want to skip KOTOR. I barely remember what I don't know. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll play. Maybe I'll finish it. Do I still have it installed? No, I don't have it installed. I'm skipping it. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. I'm going to watch some cutscenes and stuff like that to get filled in. And Lox Beast, thank you so much for the channel support as well. Lox Beast says, Star Wars roleplay on Gmod. It's a combination of roleplaying and FPS in a Star Wars setting in Gary's mod. So, yeah, Cap Coldblood, he was here earlier in the stream. He actually set up, along with some other guys, set up a really cool Star Wars roleplay server. It was mind-blowing. I think it was right around the time when my daughter was born, and I wish I had more time. It's the same thing with Minecraft thing, that my Discord mods made. Mind-blowingly awesome. I wish I had more time to devote to playing in it, but yeah, I have messed with that, and it's mind-blowing what people have been able to create. And these scenarios and these entire worlds they've been able to simulate, So that's actually a really cool thing to recommend to people. If anybody has Gmod, you can download all these Star Wars assets and probably find servers where people are kind of role-playing Star Wars stuff. And if you just want to be in Star Wars and just kind of walk around these settings, and it's pretty awesome. And I would recommend checking it out. But anyway, Lox, I appreciate that, man. And Benjamin B, thank you so much as well. KOTOR 1 is a classic Star Wars adventure with a cool twist at the end. KOTOR 2 is more about the nature of the Force and the gray. 2 refers to the end of 1, but watching cutscenes will be fine for that info. That's probably what I'm going to end up doing. Yeah. That's probably, honestly, probably what I'm going to end up doing, watching cutscenes. I know that's probably pretty shitty, and a lot of people are probably like, why wouldn't you just play it? Because dude, it's taken me over 2 years to even get 50% through Red Dead Redemption 2. I don't really have much time to play games anymore. Anybody that's a dad would know. Galaxy's more immersive than Gmod. Oh, I don't doubt that for a second, Alec. But yeah, Ben, I'm probably gonna end up watching just the cutscenes, getting filled in with all that stuff. Like I said, I have Knights of the Old Republic 2 installed. I will probably end up playing it a little bit by myself.
Command agree, execute order 66.
Just for you. Why does eBay send me? Sorry, man. I just got a notification from eBay for Lucky Brand men's graphic t-shirts. I've never even looked for that shit on my phone. Ever. I've never looked at it at all. I've never looked at... whatever. Sick of this damn phone. Let's get rid of these things. Akbar, thank you so much for the generous super chat and channel support this afternoon, man. I greatly appreciate that. Give me one sec. But yeah, Ben, I'm looking forward to it. I hope it's compatible with a controller. Because what I might do is mess around with it on my Steam Link. I've been wanting to play my Steam Link more often. I have fiber internet, right? Which not that it matters internally in my house, but I have a wall, an internet jack behind my desktop computer upstairs, and then I have an internet jack coming out of the wall downstairs in my living room where our big TV is. And I have my Steam Link plugged into that. So it's just, I can select, beautiful, no lag whatsoever on my Steam Link, and it runs perfectly, just no hiccups whatsoever, just because it's completely hardwired to my desktop, right, and my network. And I have been really wanting to play more games on my Steam Link, because I have just a library of games on Steam that I've never really played that much of, But anyway, I appreciate them. What does it mean when... Oh, okay, I see. I've never noticed that. Is that new on Steam? If somebody's playing a game, it shows a little green head next to it. Gary is currently playing South Park: The Stick of Truth. And Eridor is currently playing Rainbow Six Siege. That's kind of neat. I've never seen that. Anyway, I appreciate that, Ben. And Vince Wynn, good to see you, man. I'm late. I love Bounty Hunter in OG Battlefront 2. So, Bounty Hunter is a game that completely passed me by. Bounty Hunter came out on the GameCube, right? I could be wrong. Bounty Hunter 2002. Originally came out on the GameCube, okay, and then a PS2, PS3, PlayStation. I never owned a GameCube. I never owned a PlayStation 2. And for whatever reason, that game completely passed me by. I've actually been really hoping that they release it on Steam, because I think it would be a lot of fun. Because, dude, so many people have told me that is like one of their favorite Star Wars games. And it's not on Steam. No. Okay, let me see if it's on, like... I don't think it's available on the PC, right? Bounty Hunter. Oh. GOG. I typed GOG, like Good Old Games, which is a website you can buy games on. GOG Bounty Hunter. And Google auto-corrected it to Dog Bounty Hunter. So now I'm looking at Dog the Bounty Hunter news. Let's see. Star Wars Bounty Hunter. Yeah, it's not on here, unfortunately. Star Wars Bounty Hunter download game. Oh, what is this? Is this like an emulator? Install games. So, LucasArts. I'm going to look into this. Vince. Is it possible to play this on a PC not using an emulator? I'll look into it. But anyway, I appreciate that, Vince. You are not the only person to have named Battlefront 2 as one of their favorites in this stream. But you are the first person, at least that I've read, to bring up Bounty Hunter in this stream. But yeah, man. I want to play it. Maybe one day. We shall see. But I appreciate that, man. And Olaski, did I butcher the name? Olaski, thank you so much for the channel support as well. Ever consider doing a Star Wars Galaxies stream with your fans or even making a guild? Yeah, so I have dabbled, or I've played Galaxies a little bit over the years on streams. And whenever I do, man, it's usually just to run around and show people what the game was all about. It's just like me feeding my own nostalgia trip. You know what I mean? If I did have more time to play games and devote to something like that, I probably would. That's probably the game that I would probably devote a lot of time into for at least a couple months, right? But unfortunately, I don't see myself doing, like, creating a guild or putting that much time into Galaxies. The other day, I did run a couple. I went out and killed some womp rats, and I created a marksman, and I wanted to, like, kind of maybe get a master marksman going, which would be fun. But yeah, man, despite it being my favorite Star Wars game of all time, it does require a lot of time, right? A lot of devotion. Me popping on for an hour, maybe once or twice a week, if that, would take me forever to get anywhere in the game. But yeah, and not only that, like, there's Star Wars Galaxies EMU, right, which is the emulated server. There's also another player-made server called Star Wars Galaxies Legends. I've heard that's more populated, and I've heard there's more kind of activity on that server. I might check that out, maybe. And like back in the day when I played Star Wars Galaxies, when I first got the game, I don't know, you probably heard this spiel before, but I got it at midnight at Walmart. Me and my buddy went. It was the summer of 2003. We went to Walmart to pick it up, and it wasn't even on the shelf yet. The guy had to go back and get 2 copies from the back for us, Got home. We created, obviously it took forever to install and download and all that stuff. We weren't able to play it till the morning, and this was in 2003. And we just basically stayed up all night and played it all day. And so I made a Terras Kasi. I mastered Terras Kasi. Combat, great. But I quickly realized that combat wasn't the thing that I liked the most about the game, And yeah, I tried my hand at, like, marksman and stuff like that, and I got master combat professions, but after a few months, I just realized that what I liked about the game the most was the community, the social aspects, the economy. So I actually made, after I dabbled in combat and got a couple mastered professions, I actually made a master image designer. That was stupid, right? I mean, like, but all I wanted to do was just kind of, like, hang out in the game and be in the Star Wars universe, and that was such an easy profession to skill up, And then after, like, a month of me doing that, I was bored out of my mind, so I became a master doctor, and that was the profession that I stuck with until I quit the game. I was a master doctor, and I loved it. Because I would sit in, like, Mos Eisley Spaceport or in Theed, and I would advertise over my head saying, giving buffs for, I don't even know the price, 5,000 credits, max buffs, line up in front of me, and I would have, like, a dozen people lined up in front of me, right? And I would buff them, and then they would go out on their journey, and they would pay me credits, and I would use those credits to build my home, or furnish my home, or help build the guild city that we created. And that's what I loved about the game, So I don't know if a lot of these player-made servers has enough population for me to even justify doing one of these professions that really would require, because how you can't really be a doctor on a very limited populated server, right? Because you wouldn't have enough people to sustain yourself, to buff and all this kind of stuff, or an image designer, or various other professions. Sure, you could do combat, but combat, a lot of people loved it, but for me, I just liked the economy of it, the social aspects of it, and the community of it. But yeah, anyway, I could talk about galaxies all goddamn day, Alosky. But yeah, anyway, I appreciate that, man. And Admiral Akbar and Caleb Kemp, thank you guys for coming in with the final super chats before I jet. Admiral Akbar said, Commander Gree, execute Order 66. Do you think Palpatine... we've talked about that before, right? Does he actually say that in the clip from Clone Wars? Wait. Does he actually say that? Commander Gree. Order 66. Does he actually say, is that I don't remember that line of dialogue. Gree. Okay, so does he say Commander Gree, execute Order 66? Sorry, execute Order 66. I'll have to watch this without any audio, or this shit will get taken down. But yeah, Admiral Akbar, and this has been something that we've talked about a few times on the stream. Do you think, like Palpatine went around the horn and just talked to every single commander and said, Commander John, Commander Ryan, Commander Timothy, Commander Dylan, execute Order 66? That'd be very time consuming. It'd be a waste of time. But anyway, Admiral, I greatly appreciate that ridiculously generous super chat channel support this afternoon, man. So I haven't really put out very many videos lately, just because I've actually been utilizing early mornings to go run, and I'm getting a schedule down because I've let like a running schedule kind of interfere with video making schedules, but at the same time, like, we've just got shit going on. So what I'm planning on doing is my daughter's going over to my parents' house on Wednesday, and I got 3 scripts ready to go, and I'm hoping to get all 3 of those videos done. They're not very deep, like, I don't know, strenuous videos to make, but I got 3 ideas, 3 scripts. I'm going to try to knock them out and have them scheduled from like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or maybe just Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We'll see. But anyway, Admiral, I greatly appreciate that. Commander Gree, execute Order 66. Hope you're having a good one, man. He does say it. He does say it in there. Okay. I can't remember if he actually says Commander Gree, execute Order 66. And then he gets decapitated by Yoda, right? I think. It's been a long time since I've seen Revenge of the Sith. But yeah, probably, it's been before The Force Awakens for sure. Maybe a year before The Force Awakens. I don't even know. Which is crazy to think about. Force Awakens already came out 5 years ago. 4.5 years ago or so. That's nuts. Nuts. Yeah. And Caleb Kemp sent you a tweet. Hope it helps. Oh, nice. Okay. Yep. Perfect. Well, it fixed streaming games that wouldn't show up for me. Use the game capture source, and in properties, switch mode to capture any full... oh, really? Okay. I usually have it set to like capture specific. I'll give that a shot. Yeah, I'll give that a shot after the stream, out of curiosity. I really want to. I've been like really wanting to play either Rogue Squadron or the pod racing game, and both of those games have given me issues. So hopefully that'll fix it. I'm not holding my breath, but if it fixes it, I would be very grateful. But I appreciate that, man. And yeah, I'll try that directly after the stream. And Oscar Rodriguez, good to see you all as always, man. Final super chat and channel support before I jet. Oscar says, at the moment, Star Wars Battlefront 2 and Jedi Fallen Order. Often while the baby monitor is beeping, so that's what you'll hear in the background for the next couple minutes, because it's running out of batteries. Often while I may get nostalgic, Star Wars games have a shelf life, and I don't have a desire to replay those games. No, I'm with you, man. Like, I'm completely with you. Not only Star Wars games, but it's kind of interesting because if you do have nostalgia for a game, you can go back to it and play it, and it feels good because you used to play it as a kid maybe, and you do have that nostalgia for it, and you have that love for it, right? But something like, I don't know, something like Republic Commando or even The Force Unleashed, it took me a little while to get into. When I fire it up, I don't have that same kind of like, this is awesome feeling that maybe a lot of you guys had playing it when it first came out back in the day. My feeling isn't, this is awesome. It's usually like, oh, this is super dated. You know what I mean? It's really hard to get into old games if you never played them when they first came out. At least it is for me. But no, I completely understand what you're saying, man. There is a shelf life to games, especially when there's so many new, great independent games nowadays, even that are usually relatively cheap. That why keep looking backwards when you can keep looking forwards, right? So yeah, Jedi Fallen Order is probably my favorite single-player Star Wars game if I wipe away the nostalgia goggles. My favorite Star Wars multiplayer game is still Star Wars Galaxies, even if I take those nostalgia goggles off. It is still my favorite Star Wars single or multiplayer game, just because it is kind of the perfect Star Wars game to me. Living in the Star Wars universe, not just playing in the Star Wars universe, you know. So, yeah. Jedi Fallen Order is fun as shit, man. It's like I was saying earlier, I was playing Arkham Origins last night, and I kept thinking like, golly, the controls, the combat's fun, it's just crazy, right? But the controls are nowhere near as satisfying. The combat is nowhere near as satisfying as something like Jedi Fallen Order. The lock-on system, yeah, I really want to play through it again. I've only played through it once. I've only played it once, and maybe I'll start doing another Jedi Fallen Order playthrough. Yeah, anyway, I appreciate that, man. And King Winks, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support and the little poop emoji there, smiling with his eyes bulging. I greatly appreciate the mound of shit looking at me. But King, thank you so much for the final super chat and channel support of this stream. I appreciate the hell out of that, man. Hope you're having a good one. Don't know if you meant to type a little message in there, or if you just wanted to toss a little poop on my doorstep. Either way, I appreciate the hell out of it. So, all right, guys. So tonight I will not be doing a stream. Tomorrow I will probably do an evening stream. I've been doing a lot of afternoon streams lately. I'll probably change it up tomorrow. And then a Wednesday, I am planning on getting 3 videos finished and scheduling them for the weekend. Wednesday night is actually the supporter Q&A. So if there's any fleet members listening right now, or if any patrons in the chat, go ask your question on Patreon and stay tuned. The supporter Q&A will be Wednesday around 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, so stay tuned for that. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. To everybody who supported the channel through Super Chats, thank you guys so much. To everybody who just hung out in the chat and didn't say a damn word, thank you guys so much for hanging out, listening to my dumb voice. So, yeah, wherever you are on planet Earth, have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, and I will catch you all on the flip side. See ya!